Hey crew, it's Ben and I am back with some more Esoterica. Today we are diving back into the works of Mr. Manly Hall. This is the Secret Teachings of All Ages. I don't even know what chapter we're up to now, but we are reading aloud and discussing as we go along the various topics of interest that come from reading. But before we begin, if you are unaware of me, any of my unconventional beliefs, or if at any point in time you get lost in the terminology, there are several playlists linked in the corner up here, in the box down below, along with the original source material, so that you can go back and understand where I am coming from. Again, we are dealing with the Rosicrucians. This is 15 Rosicrucian and Kabbalistic designs. So I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I do not attribute malice to any of these groups. If you don't understand that, you should check this out. I do not believe that the Kabbalah is correct in most cases, and that is fine. We will be discussing the things that are brought to light from here. I do not know how well it's going to work because a lot of the diagrams have been pulled out of this particular version, but we're going to read it anyway. With all that being said, we are going to dive into 15 Rosicrucian and Kabbalistic diagrams. In his well-known work, The Rosicrucians, Their Rites and Mysteries, Hargrave Jennings reproduces 5 Kabbalistic charts, which he declares to be genuine Rosicrucian drawings. He gives no information concerning their origin, nor does he attempt an elucidation of their symbolism. A recent writer who reproduced one of these charts correlated it to the emblematic tomb of Father CRC, thus exposing the true nature of Christian Rosencreutz. The 5 plates reproduced in Hargrave Jennings' books are part of a series of 15 diagrams which appear in the magical, Kabbalistical, and theosophical writings of Georgius von Welling on the subject of salt, sulfur, and mercury. That is a long title. This extremely rare volume was published at Frankfurt and Leipzig in 1735 and 1760. The numbers and figures on the charts refer to the chapters and sections of the writings. These 15 charts constitute a remarkable and invaluable addition to the few other, known admittedly authentic Kabbalistic and Rosicrucian diagrams. Lucifer is the greatest mystery of symbolism. The secret knowledge of the Rosicrucians concerning Lucifer is nowhere so plainly set forth as in these plates, which virtually reveal his true identity, a carefully guarded secret about which little has been written. Lucifer is represented by the number 741. That would be 12-3. Von Welling does not give a complete exposition of the 15 charts. To have done so would have been contrary to the principles of Kabbalistic philosophy. The deeper significance of the symbols is revealed only by profound study and contemplation. Table 1, figures 1 through 11. Figure 1 is a Ptolemaic chart showing the true relationship existing between the primordial elements. Its secret significance is as follows. The outer ring enclosed by the lines A and B is the region of Shamayim, a Kabbalistic name for the supreme deity, signifying the expanse of the heavens or a spiritual fiery water. Shamayim is the ocean of spirit, within which all created and uncreated things exist, and by the life of which they are animated. In the lower worlds, Shamayim becomes the astral light. It is the spirit, right? The becoming, the being. The space between B and C marks the orbits or planes of the 7 spiritual intelligences, called the divine planets, not the visible planets. According to the mysteries, the souls of men enter the lower worlds through ring B, the fixed stars. All creation reflects the glory of Shamayim, the energy that filters into the spheres of the elements through the windows of the stars and planets. Between C and D lies the region of subtle, spiritual air, a subdivision of ether. D to E marks the surface of the earth and C, by which are also meant grades of ether. E to F marks the lower region, called the gathering of the waters and production of the virgin earth, or Aries. The alchemists call this quicksand, the true mystic foundation of the solid earth. F to G marks the circle of subterranean air, which is more dense and coarse than that in the outer space. C to D In this denser atmosphere, the stellar influences and celestial impulses are crystallized into corporeal spirits, thus forming the multitude of forms which exist without knowledge of their own fiery source. G is the region of the central fire of the element earth, a coarse fire in contradistinction to the divine fiery Shamayim. The sphere of the starry heavens likewise has its opposite in the sphere of the subterranean air, and the sphere of the upper air, or subtle vaporous water, has its opposite in the sphere E to F. The focal point D to E, between the 3 higher and 3 lower spheres, is called the reservoir. It receives impression from both the superior and inferior regions and is common to both. And so what we have here is 3 down, 3 up, and 1 in the middle. Imagine that. I bet there's 1 surrounding all of them. What do you think? Right, that's what we're looking at, right? Base, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. There's 3, 1, 3. That's where we're at. And then there's the divine, which encompasses all, which makes 8. So we have 3, 1, and 8 right here. Figure 2 is the Kabbalistic symbol of elemental water. Figure 9 represents the spiritual invisible water. Figure 3 is the Kabbalistic symbol of elemental air. Figure 7 represents the spiritual and invisible air. I wish we had the pictures. Figure 4 is the Kabbalistic sign of the elemental earth. Figure 8 represents the spiritual and invisible earth. Figure 5 is the Kabbalistic sign of the elemental fire. Figure 6 represents the spiritual and invisible fire. Figures 6, 7, 8, and 9 symbolize the 4 elements before the descent of Lucifer. They are the 4 rivers spoken of in Genesis, having their source in the one river. Figure W, which represents the elements superimposed on one another. The golden ball in the center is Shamayim, the fiery source of all elements. Figure 11 is the emblem of the beginning and the end of all creatures. From it, all things proceed, and to it all must return again, to become one with the fiery water of divine understanding. Table 2, figures 12 through 51. Figures 12, 13, and 14 demonstrate the sphere as a symbol of motion, to be emblematic of fire, water, and air, and as the cube as a symbol of weight, to be emblematic of earth. The sphere rests upon a point, the cube upon a surface. The sphere is therefore used to symbolize spirit, and the cube, matter. Figure 14 demonstrates that atmosphere rushing in behind a falling object increases its velocity and apparently adds to its weight. That's not true. The essential nature of the element is occultly signified by the peculiar symbol and character assigned to it. Of figure 15, the symbol of salt, Van Welling writes, in substance, the cube has 6 sides, corresponding to the 6 days of creation, with the point of rest, the 7th day, in the center of the cube. On each surface of the cube appears the signs of the 4 elements, triangles. The alchemist declared that salt was the first created substance produced by the fire, Shamayim, which flowed out of God. The salt in salt all creation is concentrated. In salt are the beginning and end of all things. The cube, furthermore, is composed of 12 bodies, each of which have 6 sides. These bodies are the 12 fundamental pillars of the true invisible church, and when these 12 bodies are multiplied by their 6 sides, the magical number of 72 results. Well, there are 8 points. We've talked about this before, right? We did it with the star, but it's the same with the cube. You have the 6 points that make up the body. You have the one that makes up the center, and you have the one that is the encompassing one all the way around. So it is 8, not 7. The wise have said that nothing is perfect until it has been dissolved, separated, and again united, so that it becomes a body composed of 12 bodies, like the cube. The cube also, who said that? The wise? I doubt it. The cube also consists of 6 pyramids, with the 6 surfaces of the cube as their bases. The points of each of these 6 pyramids meet at the center of the cube, and there's one around it. These 6 pyramids, each consisting of 4 triangles, signify the elements and produce the magical number 24, which refers to the elders before the throne. The 6 surfaces and the point constitute the magical number 7. If 7 be multiplied by 7 again, and so on 7 times, the answer will reveal the method used for the ancients for measuring the periods of eternity. Thus, 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 7 is 343. 343 times 7 is 2,401. 2,401 times 7 is 16,807. 16,807 times 8 is 117,649. 117,649 times 7 is 823,543. 823,543 times 7 is 5,764,801. This is not to be taken as Earth years or times. Yes, exactly, because your math is flawed. You are missing a digit, and so it is going to be flawed. 7 is not the number, 8 is. 8 is the number of computation. It is the number of practical application of theoretical thought. 10 is what we use in the 5D to talk about things and to do math, right? 0 through 9. But in the spiritual, on the ethereal plane, it is 8. It is not 7. It is the full harmonic, because life is a fundamental harmonic. There are 7 stages, with the 8th being the beginning of the next one, repeated throughout everything. Base 8 is how we get everything. And if you're using 7, you're just going to get wrong. The 5 million represents the Great Hall year, or Masonry. The 70,000, the Great Sabbath year, or 700,000, the Great Sabbath year. Really. Wherein all human beings gradually gain true understanding and become heirs to the original and eternal inheritance, which was lost when they were enmeshed in the lower elements. The 64,800 is the number of the fallen angels. And the last one, 1 year, signifies the liberation of Lucifer and return to his original estate. Figure 16 is another symbol of salt, while figure 17, the dot, is the sign of spirit gold, the sun, or the germ of life. If the dot be moved before it becomes a line, figure 18, this motion of the dot is the first motion. The beginning and the end of every line is a dot. Figure 19 is the circle. It is the second motion and most perfect of all lines. Out of it are formed all figures and bodies. All right. Oh, look, we do have a couple of figures. This is table 1, figures 1 through 11. So this is what we were talking about with the 7 dimensions, and the 8th being the next, right? Now, we went through what they were talking about, so I don't know if they're going to tell us again. This is table 2. And, okay, like all of these things, math is a thing. Geometry actually works. There are all kinds of things, but I don't know that it is that important. Out of it are formed all figures and bodies imaginable. Figure 20 represents the outpouring of the upper and spiritual life into manifestation. Figure 21 represents darkness, for it is the loosening of the subterranean destructive principle. Figure 20 is also the symbol of day, and figure 21 of night. We could be keeping going back and forth to all of these, but I will highly recommend that you go back and check it out for yourself. The link will be provided down below. Figure 26 is the character of the air, showing that air is born out of the eternal light and the ethereal water. Figure 27 is the character of water. It is the inversion of figure 26, indicating that its origin is from the lower fire and not the higher. Its upper part signifies that water does not lack the divine element, but, as a universal mirror, reflects the heavenly influences. Figures 28 and 29 are symbols of salt, showing that it is both fire and water in one. Figure 30 is the character of fire in all its attributes, and figure M, the same inverted, water in all its powers. Figure 32 is the character of salt in all its attributes. Figure 33 represents both gold and the sun. Their essential natures are identical, being formed from the first fire out of Shamayim. They are perfect, as can be seen from their symbol, for no more perfect form can be produced out of a dot than the circle. Figure 34 is the character of the greater and lesser worlds. As the dot is surrounded by its circumference, this world is surrounded by the Shamayim, that is the 8th influence. Man, the little world, is included in this symbol because his inner nature is potential gold, a formen hatama, which gold is his eternal, indestructible, spiritual body. Gold is the masculine principle of the universe. Figure 35 is the character of silver and the moon. It signifies that silver, like gold, is a perfect metal, except that the red part of its nature is turned inward. Silver is the feminine principle of the universe. Figure 36 is the character of copper and Venus. Figure 37 of iron and Mars. Figure 38 of tin and Jupiter. Figure 39 of lead and Saturn. Figure 40 of Mercury, both the planet and the element. Figure 41 of antimony, the key metal of the earth itself. Figure 42 of arsenic. Figure 43 of sulfur. Figure 44 of cinnabar. Figure 45 of quicklime. Figure 46 of niter. Figure 47 of vitriol. Figure 48 is the character of sal ammoniac, which element derives its name from the temple of Jupiter Ammon in an Egyptian desert, where it was found. Figure 49 is the character of alum. Figure 50 of alkali, the name of Arabian origin. And figure 51 of sal tartar, a substance possessing a great occult virtue. All of these are just symbols that men came up to interpret things, right? It is a way of keeping track and alchemy of things, but it is not necessarily of spiritual significance. We have talked about tools and their uses. Table 3, figure 52. The 8 globes and the central square represent the 7 days of creation. The 3 worlds wherein creation occurs are symbolized by 3 concentric rings. The German words in the outer ring are extracts from the first chapter of Genesis. The words around the outside of the outer ring are the first day. The 4 small globes inside the outer ring deal with the abstract phases of creation. The upper globe, containing the triangle, encloses the words heaven and earth. The globe to the right contains the word light, and the one to the left, Jehovah Elohim, in the upper parts and darkness in the lower part. The globe at the bottom contains the word day in the upper half and night in the lower. The 4 globes within the second ring depict the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th days of creation. The white globe above, divided by a dotted line, is designated the 2nd day. The globe on the left with the mountains, the 3rd day. The globe on the right with the planetary rings, the 4th day. And the globe below, bisected by a dotted line, the 5th day. The square in the central ring containing the human form is marked the 6th day. This chart is a diagrammatic exposition of the 3 layers of the macrocosmic and microcosmic auric eggs, showing the forces active within them. Do they have that actual? This is table 3 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the middle, 4 outside. So that's interesting. Table 4, figure 53. Figure 53 has been designated the symbolic tomb of Christian Rosencreutz. The upper circle is the first world, the divine sphere of God. The triangle in the center is the throne of God. The small circles at the points of the star symbolize the 7 great spirits before the throne mentioned in the book of Revelation, in the midst of which walks the Alpha and Omega, the Son of God. The central triangle contains 3 flames, the divine Trinity. From the lowest of these flames proceeds the first divine outflow, shown by 2 parallel lines descending through the throne of Saturn, the spirit Oriphelis, through whom God manifested himself. Passing through the boundary of the celestial universe and the 22 spheres of the lower system, the lines end at point B, the throne of Lucifer, in whom the divine outpouring is concentrated and reflected. From him the divine light irradiates in succession to D, Capricorn, E, Gemini, F, Libra, G, Taurus, H, Pisces, I, Aquarius, K, Cancer, L, Virgo, M, Aries, N, Leo, O, Scorpio, and P, Sagittarius, and then back to D. The zodiacal circles represent 12 orders of great and beneficent spirits, and the smaller circles within the fixed ring of fixed stars mark the orbits of these sacred planets. Table 5, Figure 54. Figure 54 is similar to Figure 53, but represents the universe at the time God manifested himself through the character of Jupiter, the spirit Sacassio. Von Welling gives no reason for the change in the order of influx into the 12 orders of spirits. For the third world, for the adding of another circle and the interlaced triangles in the upper world, or for the letters Y and Z in the upper triangle. So we looked at Table 3 here. This is Table 4, Figure 53, which is showing the zodiac and its relations to each other. And Figure 7, which is again showing the celestial sphere, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps. Imagine that. A represents the father principle, F the divine outflow, G the point of influx into the 12 orders of spirits, probably Sagittarius. The letters H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, S, T denote the sequential points of irradiations to each other, W and X the world of the sons of God, and B, C, D, and E the world of Lucifer. This plate shows the universe after the descent of Lucifer into matter. According to von Welling, when Lucifer wanted to control power, the influx of the divine light instantly ceased. Lucifer's world, which later became the solar system, with all its legions of spirits, who in their essence were Shamayim, reflecting his ideas and inverting the divine light, was turned into darkness. Lucifer's Shamayim thereupon became a contracted disk, a tangible substance, and chaos came into existence. Table 6, Figures 55 to 59. Figure 55 symbolizes the chaos of Lucifer. Figure 56, the separation of light from darkness. Figure 57, the light in the midst of the darkness. Figure 58, the regions of the elements and their inhabitants. The 4 A's signifies the abyss surrounding all things. The AB is the fiery throne of Lucifer. The plane of G is the subterranean air. F, the subterranean water. C, the earth region. D, the outer water. E, the outer air. W and X, the region of Shamayim. The elemental inhabitants of the planes differ in goodness according to their proximity to the center of wickedness, AB. The earth's surface divides the subterranean elementals from those of the outer water, air, and fire, D, C, and X. The elementals of the upper strata, the upper half of C, and all of D, E, and X, represent an ascending scale of virtue, while those of the lower strata, the lower half of C, and all of F, G, and AB, represent a descending scale of depravity. The region of air, E, is a partial exception to this order. While air is close to the light and filled with beautiful spirits, it is also the habitation of Beelzebub, the evil spirit of the air, with his legion of elemental demons. Upon the subtle element of air are impressed the influences of the stars, the thoughts, words, and deeds of man, and a myriad of mysterious influences from the various planes of nature. Man inhales these impressions, and they produce diverse effects upon his mind. In air are suspended also the seed germs by which water is impregnated, and made capable of bringing forth forms of organic and inorganic life. The grotesque figures seen in crystal caves and frost pictures upon windows are caused by these aerial impressions. While the air elementals are great and wise, they are treacherous and confused because amenable to both good and evil impressions. The mighty elemental beings who inhabit the watery light, fire of the region X, cannot be deceived by the spirits of darkness. They love the creatures of the waters, for the watery element proceeded from the fiery water, X. Mortal man cannot endure the society of these fiery spirits, but gains wisdom from them through the creatures of the waters, in which they continually mirror themselves. Figure 59 represents this solar system with W and X as the locality of the Garden of Eden. Table 7. I thought we just did Table 7. Figures 1 through 5, 7, and 8. Table 8 has Figure 6. Figure 1 is the triune divine sulfur, the all-perfect out of the all-perfect, the soul of creatures. The threefold divine one is symbolized by 3 interlaced circles designated alchemically salt, sulfur, and mercury. We dealt with those 3, the Trinity, earth, soul, and spirit. And the central triangle is the divine name Ihaya. Geist means spirit. The other words require no translation. Figure 2 is a common destructive sulfur. A bar placed in the triangle makes it the character of earth. Figure 3 is the true oil of vitriol, composed of a circle with 2 diameters and 2 reversed half circles hanging below. In this are hidden the characters of all metals. Tin is symbolized by Figure 4 and iron by Figure 5. Figure 7 is the solar system according to Copernicus. Figure 8 is the last judgment. Imagine that. The sun is removed from the center of the solar system and replaced by the earth. This changes the respective positions of all the other planets except Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, which retain their respective circles. The letter A signifies the circle of the sun, B that of Mercury, C of Venus, D that of the moon, and E that of the earth. Inward from the sphere, H are the great circles of damnation. Table 7, Figure 6. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be 8, but okay. In Figure 6, the letter A marks the center of eternity. The motions of the rays towards B, D, and C was the first divine manifestation and is symbolized by the equilateral triangle B, D, C. The eternal world within the inner circle becomes manifest in the water, salt, the light, mercury, and the fire, sulfur, of the archetypical world, represented by the 3 circles, F, E, G, within the triangle of complete equality, H, I, K, which in turn surrounded by the circle of the high throne. The circle F is named understanding, E, wisdom, G, reason. The circle I is the word Father. In circle H, Son. In circle K, Spirit. The 7 outer circles are the 7 spirits before the throne. The lower part of the figure is similar to figures 53 and 54. The outer circles are the angelic world, ending in the cognizable world of the sons of God. Then comes the circle of the visible constellations and fixed stars. Within this, the solar system with the sun as the center. Ungrund means the abyss. Table 9, Figure 9. Figure 9 is a synthesis of the Old and New Testaments and represents the interblending planes of being. In the right margin, the 7 outer circles contain the names of the planetary angels. The words in the graduated circles from the top downward read: 1. The abyss of compassion. 2. Zion. 3. The new heaven and the new earth. 4. The new Jerusalem. 5. Paradise. 6. The bosom of Abraham. 7. The outer courts of the Lord. From below, the circles of darkness reach upward, each divine principle being opposed by an infernal opposite. The small circle on the left, containing a triangle and a cross, is named the Tree of Life, and that on the right, the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil. In the center of the diagram is the Trinity, joined with the superior and inferior planes by lines of activity. Table 10, Figures 10 through 15. Figure 10 shows the New Jerusalem in form of a cube with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel written on the 12 lines of the cube. In the center is the eye of God. The words round the outer circle are from the book of Revelation. Figures 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 possibly are cipher symbols of the angels of the plagues, the name of the Antichrist, the signature of the beast of Babylon, and the name of the woman riding the beast of blasphemy. All right, this is Table 8. Table 10. And Table 11. Table 11, figures 1 through 11. Figure 1 is a solar system according to Genesis. The O on the top of the radius of the circle is the dot of eternity. the beginning of beginnings. The whole diameter is the outflow of God manifesting first in the heaven of heavens, the Shamayim, in which region human understanding cannot function. The space from K to I contains the heavens of Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, L to M, the heavens of Venus and Mercury, M to H, the heavens of the Sun. The letter E is the moon, the circle of the earth. Figure 2 is the globe of the earth, showing the houses and signs of the zodiac. Figure 3 is the character of the universal Mercury, divine life, in its triune aspect of mercury, sulfur, and salt. Figure 4 is the true saltpeter, purified with quicklime and alkali. Figure 5 shows the exact degree or angle of the planet's places as well as the individual fixed stars in the zodiac. The letter A is the Sun and B is the Earth. From K to I are the circles of Mercury and Venus, G to H the circles of the Earth and Moon, F to E and E to C of Jupiter and Saturn, C to D the starry belt or zodiac. Figure 6 is the microcosm, with the planets and signs of the zodiac corresponding to the different parts of its form. The words upon the figure read, "Know thyself." In words, herbs, and stones lie a great power. Figure 7 is the universal character from which all characters have been taken. Figure 8, 9, and 10 are left to the solution of the reader. Figure 11 is the radiating universal Mercury. I want to see that. What is left to the interpretation, huh? Okay. Table 12, figures 12 through 19. Figure 12 is called a mirror of astrological aspects. Below it is an astrologer's wheel. Figure 13 is similar to Figure 12. Figure 14 is a secret alchemical formula. The words around the circle read, out of one in all is all. Figure 15 is an unsatisfactory attempt to show the comparative sizes of the suns and planets and their distances from each other. Figure 16 is the solar system with its internal and spiritual heavens. AB is the solar system, C is the sphere of fixed stars, D, E, F, and G are the systems of the spiritual worlds, H is the throne of the living God, J, K, L, M, and N are the great beyond, unmeasurable. Figure 17 shows the creation of the solar system out of the rings of the divine eternity. The 4 A's are the abyss, B is the first revelation of God out of the abyss, and from this revelation, C, D, E, F, and G were created. C and D represent the spiritual hierarchies, D and E the upper worlds or constellations, E and F the distance from Jupiter to the upper worlds, F and G the solar system with its planets and their heavens, B and C the throne of Christ. Figure 18 describes the division according to Genesis of the waters above the heavens from the waters below, A, B, and C. Figure 19 is the Mercury of the philosophers, essential to material existence. Table 13, figures 1 through 4. Figure 1 is Ein Sof, the incomprehensible abyss of divine majesty, an endless welling up, limitless in time and space. Figure 2 symbolizes the 3 divine principles, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Around the triangle is written, I shall be that I shall be. At the apex of the triangle is the word crown. In the left point, wisdom, and in the right point, understanding. Figure 3 represents the Trinity with its outflow. The words above the upper sphere are the revelation of the divine majesty in Jehovah Elohim. The lower circles contain the name of the hierarchies controlling the lower worlds. The words within the circle of stars read, Lucifer, the son of the aurora of the morning. The letter C represents the universal Mercury. The words within the circle read, the first beginning of all creatures. Figure 4 represents the abode of Lucifer and his angels, the chaos spoken of in Genesis. Table 14, figures 5, 7, and 8. Figure 5 shows the table of triune divinity in the midst of a cross. At the left is a small triangle containing the words, the secrets of Elohim, and at the right is another inscribed, the secrets of nature. On the horizontal arms of the cross are the words, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The plate explains the interblending of the spiritual and infernal powers in the creation of the universe. Figure 7 is called the road to paradise. It probably indicates the positions of the sun, moon, and planets at the moment of their genesis. Figure 8 is the earth before the flood, when it was watered by a mist or vapor. The words at the left are the tree of life, those at the right, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The diagram with the symbol of Mars is devoted to a consideration of the rainbow. Table 15, figures 6, 9, 10. Figure 6 is similar to figure 5 and is called the secret of nature. An interesting diagram is shown on the either side of the central figure, each consisting of a triangle with circles radiating from its points. The diagram on the left is called the secrets of the upper world, and the one in the right the secrets of the underworld. Figure 9 is the solar system. Around the central part are the words, the place of the damned. Turn that off real quick. The place of the damned. Figure 10 shows the dot, the point or point of rest, surrounded by a triangle, enclosing a circle containing the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. It represents completion of the process of regeneration and the consummation of the great work. All right, figure 12. And again, go back and look at these for yourself. We're going to talk a lot at the end, so I'm not talking a lot here in the middle. So this is another table. And finally, all right, so I have made absolutely no qualms about the fact that I do not hold to the story in Genesis, right? It is an allegory, so okay, it works. But I do not believe that it is held in the way that it should be held as an allegory. It is held instead as the infallible way that things have fallen out. I do not believe that there was an adversary who rebelled and became where we are. I believe that where we are is where we were meant to be. This was created for us to be here. We were meant to embrace things. We were meant to be tried and overcome those trials. Lucifer is the personification of that concept. I do not believe that God created an angel not knowing that the angel would rebel. I do not believe that he was given dominion over the here to torment us, right? We are here for the experiences, and some of them can be tormenting, but that is not why this divine creature was created. And so most of this I just dismiss. I know it sounds trite to say that, and I don't say it lightly, but I don't have a lot to expound upon this because I have not studied alchemy, although that appears to be where we're going next. Alchemy is one of those things that can only be studied hands-on, so when we're going through that, I don't know how much I'm going to have to expound upon that. We are still going to cover it. I do these videos whether people are going to watch them or not because this is groundwork. We are here for the trials. We are here for overcoming. We are here to learn lessons, and all of these things do not require a hell. I believe that there is a possibility for seeing into the future, but the farther into the future that you are seeing, the less clear it's going to be, and you can only interpret the things that you see according to the things that you know. So the prophets probably did not get it entirely correct. John, in particular, probably did not get it all the way to correct because he was a zealot for sure, and very much convinced that he was correct. Whether he was or not, we don't know. Much like Paul, right? Paul's a whole different argument. There can be things to learn from this. In the practice of alchemy, these notes are what it is written in, right? If you are looking to figure out what Jupiter represents, these are the charts to go to for the ancient lore, right? We got a whole nother series called Ancient Lore, and we will probably wind up talking about all of these things over there again. But that's what it's for. All these charts, all of these figures, everything discussed in here is a key to alchemy. Not necessarily to anything spiritual. Alchemy does not have to be spiritual at all. It can be. There is mental alchemy. We talked about that in the Hermes playlist, right? The Hermes Trismegistus playlist we have. And all of those things can be symbolical, but they are not necessarily correct, right? This means Jupiter. Okay, well, we decided that means Jupiter, just like we decided the letter A is going to be the beginning of the alphabet and Z is going to be the last. Doesn't necessarily mean that it was created that way. Does not mean that it was intended in that manner. All of this symbology was to hide the fact that they were doing things that they were not supposed to be doing, so they couched it in the language that was acceptable. That is why they talk about the Bible in here. Most of the people doing alchemy probably did not, in fact, believe in the Bible. I know that is extremely easy to say here 100, 200, 300, 400 years in the future, but they had to hide what they were doing in a way that I don't. Right? That's the point of the secret societies, was because they didn't believe the things that were around them. They were very much surrounded by the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church would cut pieces off of you if you were playing with forces beyond mortal ken. So they had to hide it. That's what this is about. The study of astrology is a real thing. People love to watch the stars move. There's a reason for it. There are cycles that repeat, and we need to be watching out for them. But I don't believe that the Mercury moving backwards instead of forwards is going to make you act a certain way. But people like to study that. People like to talk about it. People like to believe in that instead of believing in the truth. Much in the same way that people believe the book, the stories of Genesis or the Pentateuch, even though they are almost certainly pirated material, right? Taken wholesale from other people and assimilated into a culture's history. Doesn't mean that it originated there. As a matter of fact, there is significant evidence to produce otherwise. The story of Noah is an easy one, right? The flood is recorded in the Sumerian tales well before Moses. And the names are even the same in some instances. There can be truth here. I don't know it. I have not studied alchemy. I don't know. But I do know the concept of 8 is very important. 7 into 8, right? Equal. Those two numbers are equal. They are the same. I know it sounds weird, but 7 always means with one more, the overcoming, all-encompassing. You have 7 steps that make up the earth, which leads into the 8th, which is the atmosphere. You have 7 steps that make up the atmosphere, with the 8th being space. This is a repeating pattern. 8 is the number of spirituality and creation. It is one of the key numbers of manifestation. 1, 3, and 8. Those are the numbers to play with, not 7. 7 was probably put into place to keep you from learning something, much like the rest of that control system. Who said that there were 6 days of creation? Was somebody there to record 6 days of creation? Think about that really hard, because I know it is a belief that you hold dearly because you read it in a book, and that book is really old, but that does not mean it's true. It can be. It absolutely can be that there was 7 days, with the 8th day being the beginning of the next week, or there could be 8 days of creation. It could be 5 days of creation. It could be 1 day of creation. We don't know. So we don't need to get caught up in that. We need to separate what is trackable from what isn't, what is repeatable from what isn't. The number 8 and its applications, in my estimation, as we have outlined several times, is important. Much more important than 7. Much more important than any of the rest of them. Definitely much more important than 10. 8 is the repeating pattern of creation. There are 8 planes of existence as far as I'm concerned. And so that's where we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this one up. I could talk an awful lot about things I don't know, or I could just let it go, and that's what I'm going to do, right? The things that I do know are more important to me than the things that I don't know. And so we will briefly discuss the things that I don't know. Like most of this was people trying to explain things, much as the same way as other books have been written. Doesn't necessarily have to be true, and some of it I am fairly emphatic about not being true. And so Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a somewhat difficult topic. I don't even have full understanding on all of this. I do not claim to have full understanding on all of this. The parts that I don't know may be enlightened to me later, and it may wind up being true, and so I'm not going to call it untrue. I just don't know. It is what it is. If you like what I'm doing over here, let me know down below. Give me a like, share, and a sub. Throw me a comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. And if you really like what I'm doing, hit me with that super thanks, because I am not a communist. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt's Take. Peace.